Right, with me now is Patricia MacBride, who's Legal Affairs Consultant. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Sam McBride, no relation, political correspondent for the newsletter. Good morning to you both. We were just hearing then some views from people about what they're frustrated about, what issues are being addressed. Patricia, your thoughts on the people you've spoken to, former Victims Commissioner, and so I suppose there's that dichotomy about whether people have focused on the troubles and want issues resolved, or whether the younger generation particularly wants to look forward.
Well, I think that there is a tension between both of those sets of needs. On the one hand, there are unresolved issues relating to the conflict, and there is a reality and an acceptance that they can't be dealt with in a legalistic way, but there does need to be a manner of process that does deal with the legacy of the conflict around truth recovery, around acknowledgement, and around addressing the needs of victims and survivors. That's a tension with what young people who are looking to move forward, who are looking into a situation where they've never lived in a conflict area. You know, they don't understand the idea of violence and conflict and the security situation as it was at the time.
And while you talk about that, Sam, so what's happening inside households with families, the conflict between the generations and how they vote?
Well, I think the reality is that for politicians, they will react to wherever they think votes are going to come from, and the reality now is that the Troubles generation is gradually receding. The victims of the Troubles are in reality starting to die in many cases. Their children perhaps still feel strongly about this, but perhaps less strongly than their parents. So issues such as the economy, issues such as social change in Northern Ireland, issues such as gay marriage, abortion, those are the sorts of issues which have dominated both this campaign and the last couple of election campaigns.
And we were talking to our Ireland correspondent Chris Buckler about participation and the concern about numbers and how engaged people are being. When I was talking to people, some were just saying, I'm just not bothering. I just don't think it makes a difference.
That is a very common reaction here. I think that over the last probably 5 years of this Assembly term, there has been enormous frustration among the public at Stormont, but there is starting to be, I think, a realisation that people can't just disengage because Stormont does govern their lives. So when it comes to social issues like abortion, when it comes to healthcare provision, where something like 400,000 people in Northern Ireland are now on a hospital waiting list, people might not see any great benefit in voting for one of the established parties, but they do realise that there has to be, that Stormont does impact their lives, even if they don't seem to see that at an election time.
Patricia?
I think that's where the tension lies with the younger generation. You will see a dilution of perhaps the importance of what would have been the traditional party lines around nationalism and unionism. And the parties haven't fully stepped into that void to address the issues that are important for a new generation, that are increasingly important for entire society. I mean, if you look at the issue of marriage equality that Sam just brought up, 2/3 of people here support marriage equality. We've had multiple votes in the Assembly where legislation has been proposed and it's been defeated. Even though there was a popular vote in support, the issue was defeated by a majority because of our voting rules in the Assembly. So the parties need to step up. They need to move with the times, and they're failing to do that at the moment.